I was recording and somehow the recording crashed on me, so I'll start again from scratch. So essentially, as you can see, I came up with a new armory. I wanted to have a loadout that would use the advanced mechanics, I guess. I guess you could say I was sort of using it already with my DPS role, but I guess atomic powers pretty much have at least two advanced mechanics from what I can tell. There's one that involves the combos. Like if you do the atomic combos, you will get the aura, which will give you more damage. Like this. So you have the DPS that works with the aura, which is it's kind of cool. But I wanted to use one because the problem with this one is that if you get interrupted too much, it pretty much messes up your 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 power bar. It essentially drains your power bar pretty quickly if you mess up your combos or if you get interrupted a lot. So and also as you can see, there's a DPS, a tank loadout, a tank armory that I had set up, and so I wanted to have another DPS armory that was working with essentially uh, the advanced mechanic that doesn't require the combos. So and I really wanted to use what's it called, Geiger Blast, I think. Yeah, I wanted to use a Geiger Blast also. I thought it was a neat ability. So essentially, in my loadout, I came up with Atom Powered Assault, which pretty much starts the advanced mechanic that will allow powers to give you power back, from what I understand. I went with Beta Surge, which is a kind of a long range attack. I went with Mass Density as my supercharge in order to have more survivability with my character. The neutron bomb is another long range attack. And then you have Atom Splitter, which is pretty much a close range attack, and also it's supposed to pull the enemies towards you. So I thought the Atom Splitter and Geiger Blast combo would work quite well, because the Atom Splitter brings the enemy to me, and then the Geiger Blast blows them away. It doesn't work as well as I thought, or as often as I thought. The range for Atom Splitter seems to be pretty short. So if enemies are just a bit somewhat too far, that I won't be able to pull them. And essentially, what the whole thing is that you start with atom powered assault to start the advanced mechanic, and then you use Beta Surge, neutron bomb, and atom splitter to put a nuclear pressure to your stack. And once you have your three nuclear pressures, then as you use Geiger Blast, you will do extra damage with Geiger Blast thanks to your three nuclear pressures. And then you start the whole cycle again. Although you don't have to use atom powered assault every time. Essentially, when you use atom powered assault, you can pretty much go through two rotations before you need to cast atom powered assault again, which is okay. So essentially, it'll make more sense once I start doing missions. So let's get started and do a few missions. I will probably stick to doing solo missions because, well, it's the holidays, and earlier today, just doing a duo took forever. Heck, I waited like a whole day to be able to do desecrated cathedral with another character. So I'll probably stick to doing just a few solo missions to pretty much show you what I mean with those combos. So let's start with well, let's start. I'm not sure which one to start with. Okay, let's start with this one, and we'll work our way through. You know, we'll do probably all four of those. So let's get started. And again, if you tried to watch me a bit earlier, the recording crashed. So I'm sorry about that. Nothing I could really do about that. Hopefully this one will go fine. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So let's talk to our little friend here. So to get started, let's summon our friends. I'll even use the watch. Why not? So you start with your first ability, and then you cycle through the rest of your abilities until you reach Geiger Blast, which pretty much creates a pretty big explosion. And then you can keep on going through your rotation. So as you can see, unless I get knocked down, you pretty much can go through your whole rotation non-stop. So as you can see, the Geiger Blast does a pretty decent amount of damage. And you can pretty much go through your rotation and don't worry about running out of power. It seems to be pretty much self-sustaining. Of course, if you get interrupted too much, then it probably won't sustain itself all that much. I wonder where my friends were. I was starting to think that I had lost to them. I'm not sure why I still have some aggro. I thought maybe there was an enemy still alive that I skipped, but I guess not. So here they come. So as you see, when it works, it really works. Oh, I have a friend who's down. Oh, that's okay, we're almost done, I guess. As you can see, the Geiger Blast doesn't have much of a range. So if you do it when your enemies are too far, it'll do pretty much nothing, or it will do nothing. Oh, there we go. So I guess we're done here. Let's go see if there's a little box. Usually there's a little treasure chest. It's not there. So it's probably at the end of the mission. We'll go get it later. So let's talk to our friend Luthor. Well, let's start by summoning our little Brainiac servo. And then let's summon our other friends, and let's get started. So as you can see, you pretty much can use you can go through your loadout about twice before even needing to recast the power that starts the advanced mechanic. And also, you don't have to use it in a specific order. You pretty much can cycle through. Oh, I have to activate the pulsar. Talking too much. That's what happens. And yes, you can go blindly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure. So essentially, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 2, 3, 4, 5, and then start the whole cycle again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's the other pulsar to activate. But you don't have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can, for reasons, decide to go 1, 4, 3, 2, 5 or something like that. And I guess I burned down my power a bit too much. But let's finish off our friend Superman. So as you can see, it's pretty much self-sustaining unless you mess up your combo or... Oh, I guess I went up to combat rating 70. That's good. I suppose I got a new piece of gear. Oh, a headpiece. Oh, that's nice. So we're going to be able to start doing tier 4 missions then. Well, let's recharge a bit, and let's go. So we got a new headpiece. So let's equip that. I had done a few missions earlier this week, essentially to experiment with the various powers in order to try to find a loadout that made some kind of sense. And I got the Bane Belt, which I thought would be enough to carry me over to combat rating 70. Sadly, then I realized that the Bane Belt is only combat rating 38, so it didn't really help me. Even though it was better than the belt I had, it still was not good enough. So, but the headpiece, I didn't expect to get that. So that's nice. So let's start with Steelworks. Also, I'm trying to work up a bit. I'm trying to get some prestige so that I can get a new villain headquarter. Essentially, I'd like to try and move the headquarter to the undersea one. So we'll see. So let's start with taking the poster because I have no intention of doing it yet. So essentially, I want to take the last mission I want to take is the one that I want to keep on my quest tracker. So I start with the poster, and I start with this mission. Essentially, is a mission that I'm going to do once every 5 days. Oh, I didn't recall doing that. That's nice. So let's click on the hostile takeover, and there we go. So every 5 missions, we're going to get a bonus mission. So essentially, every 5 days, where we're going to get a bonus mission. The workaround for that would be to repeat the mission using replay badges. So if you're in a hurry to try to raise your combat rating, that would be an option, I suppose.
What do you think I should buy on this game?
Sorry, just 1 second. Essentially it came off as what do you think I should buy on this game? I think you mistype or missed a word maybe. So ask again, please. So as you saw, I somehow I could not attract. I was trying to attract the red robot to my character, but it did not seem to want to work. There we go. It's okay if you take your time typing. There's no problem with that. It's just that the question came off weird, I guess. Either some things missing. Maybe what happens sometimes also is the autocorrect messes up things. Not so much on PS4 though, but on PC or even on the forum sometimes the autocorrect will mess up what I'm trying to post. Unless maybe you're using online translator, which has its own problem as well. But if you ask again, I'll be more than happy to try and supply an answer. It's just the way it was phrased. I'm not sure I understand the question. Where are the communication robots? It's been a while since I did the villain missions here. For a while, I've been doing the tier 4 hero missions. So I may be misremembering a thing or two, like where the robots actually spawn. Oh, there's one. So let's try and go for that one. So as you saw, I pulled pretty much every robot in a 50-mile radius, other than the one I was hoping to pull. So if the robot won't come to Mohammed, Mohammed will come to the robot or something like that. And let's try and find one last robot. They're usually pretty distinctive, like the communication robots are the red ones. Although sometimes it's hard to tell the communication robots from the communication foreman. And I think there's maybe another, like we have a red robot here, but that's the foreman. We're going to need him, I think, at the end of the mission. But right now I think here it is. We need one of those, which usually aren't that difficult to spot, but sometimes it can be a bit challenging. See, now we need the foreman, which we saw was right here. So let's try and get him before he disappears. And hopefully we're not going to attract a billion other robots. We'll see. And as you saw, we got blocked. I'm not sure how much it messed up our combo. I know I'm burning through power like crazy, so let's try and get some power back. Almost there, and there we go. So let's get out of here before we get knocked out. Just give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I tried to look at the question again. Essentially goes like, what do you think I should buy on this game? I'll assume maybe you mean what character you should use, or maybe if you should put some money on this game. If the question was if you should put money on this game, sure, it's a fun game. At worst, you can try it for free for 1 month and see if you like it, and if you do, then you can try it out. Then you can start paying for it. If you meant what character you should use, it depends on personal preferences. I would suggest to start with a DPS character at first. Uh, some powers are more challenging than others. Like the powers with combos are a bit more difficult. Like the rage power with the Red Lantern combos are a bit challenging to use, I guess. So as a starting power, I would suggest going maybe with Mantle or Quantum. These are, I would say, friendly, new player friendly powers. Although Quantum requires for you to be legendary or to purchase the power, but Mantle is, if you play for free to play, the Mantle is perfect. Ice is also another good one. Ice is a pretty good one as well, but again, I would suggest starting with a DPS to play just as a DPS and first learn to master the game, if it makes any sense. And then once you get familiar with the game and how the game works, and then maybe start uh, trying to master one of the roles. Each role has its own challenges. I guess the challenge of the controller role is that you need to be able to do many things, and you need to be able to keep track of many things.
What do you think I should buy on this game?
What you should buy on this game? Uh, that's a good one. Give me a second. What you should buy on this game? Well, the first thing I would suggest is buying armories. That's pretty much a no-brainer. Uh, they do supply you with one free armory, but just having one armory is pointless. Essentially, you need at least two armories to be able to switch at least from one role from one armory to the other, from one role to the other. So two armories will allow you to have either two sets of gear or two different roles. Like you can have an armory for tank and then one armory for DPS, and that way you can switch no problem from between roles. Because essentially with for a tank you're going to want to have different spell points than with a DPS. So with two armories, one armory can have the spell points for DPS, and the other armory can have spell points for the tank. So the DPS armory will have the spell point into precision, into might, into things that will help you do damage, and the tank armory will have spell points spent into dominance, into health, into defense, things that will help you as a tank. And also the loadouts. So you're going to be able to switch very easily from a tank loadout to a DPS loadout. So the armory would be if you had to, the armory would be the first place where I would invest some money. If you want to buy stuff, that's assuming that you're a legendary player. If you're free to play player, I'm not sure if the armory works the same way, to be honest. Like, I'm not even sure if how the layers actually work if you're free to play. There may be things you don't have access as a free to play player with your layer that I'm not aware of. So essentially, most of my suggestion for buying stuff would be from the perspective of a legendary player. So if you're a legendary, it'll make more sense if you buy at least one more armory. That's the first thing I would buy. Uh, Buying amenities is a good thing, I suppose, in the sense that it's convenient. It helps being able to go to your base and be able to do everything. So you can go to your base to repair, to craft, to have access to your bank. I'm trying to do this without fighting anyone, and it works. So let's get out of here. So yeah, definitely the first thing I would buy is an armory if I was a new player. Then yeah, the armory, then maybe amenities.
I
But of
have 2000.
I'm not sure what you can get for that much though. Oh, 2,000. Okay, I've counted one zero less. Uh, yeah, 2,000. You probably could be able to buy at least one armory. I would suggest maybe.
539 M level 49.
Okay. Yeah, would suggest at least one armory. Although you could, I'm not sure exactly. I think the armories come in packs of 1, 4, and 8, if I'm not mistaken. I would suggest uh, at least one more. But having four is
But in
not
getting more.
okay. One more is the minimum. Uh, you can go to four if you want to have, let's say, a DPS armory, then a tank armory. Uh, then you could have, let's say, a DPS PvP armory, and then a PvP tank armory, or you could decide to have just one PvP armory and use your fourth armory for maybe a second DPS loadout. You could have two DPSs loadout for various situations. So essentially, it's And also you could have not just different roles or different loadouts, but also you could literally buy different abilities. Like let's say I could have an armory with lots of radioactive powers, and then I could have a second armory with totally different powers where I would go for nuclear powers instead. Or I could have I'm not sure if
What
you
about
may
episodes?
for episodes. It depends. The problem with buying episodes is that you're going to the episodes will be obsolete very quickly. I don't know if you've seen some of my other videos. Sometimes you can go from tier 1 to tier 4 and like 2 3 hours. So if you buy an episode, it's quite possible that by the end of your first gaming session, you're already uh, that episode already is no longer relevant. So I'm not sure I would buy an episode, but then again, if you really have to, let me check 1 second again. At 39 and 49, you would be, let's see, that's all too much. 53. So essentially, your characters are tier 1 right now. Uh, you could buy other episodes, but if you buy the episodes, you won't have access to them anyways yet. Uh, but if you essentially once you reach tier 2, you're going only going to have access to flashback, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, I think flashback actually comes with the fight for the lightning strike episode. Or is it lightning strikes? Oh yeah, it's lightning strikes. Okay. So for the episode, it's a tricky thing because you're going to some episodes you're going to pass right through them very
So
quickly.
what is the main thing to you?
Uh, I'd say maybe try and go legendary for a month and see if how it works for you. Although I'm not sure how if you can. I'm not sure. The I know they changed the way you can purchase episode and at some point. So I'm not sure if you can still buy episodes using station cash or marketplace cash. Well, let's try our friend the Heartfrost Sentinel. I've been slaying those poor little guys and didn't notice that that's where I was at. So here we go. For the episode, it's tricky to answer because for some of the episode, it you will go through them very quickly. And the sad thing is that when the episode is irrelevant, you won't be getting marks of victory from them anymore. So if you purchase an episode, play for one afternoon, and then that episode is no longer relevant, well, by the end of that afternoon, you won't be able to get marks of victory anymore. So you're gonna have to purchase the next episode, which is pretty much the intent, I think. Essentially, they're trying to convince you to purchase as many episodes as possible. But I suppose, let's take a look. Wrong place.
Can I get new powers on my 4-9?
Oh, sure, yeah, you could. But you're gonna have to purchase the power. If you're not legendary, you're going to have to purchase the power. So essentially, it's going to cost you. That's a first. Sorry about that. Essentially, you're going to have to purchase a power respect token, and you're going to have to purchase the power. And sadly, since I'm legendary, I have no idea how much they cost. Let's see. Power sets. Yeah, I have no idea how much. I think it's $5 for a power, and the token I think is $10. So it would cost you $15 just to buy the new power and then respec your character to that new power, which I guess is possible, but it's if you're on a budget, it might be a bit too expensive. But for let's look at the episodes. That's what I was looking for. I guess you can still play if you don't have Fight for the Light, I suppose. The same with Lightning Strikes.
Legendary, what do you mean?
To become a member, essentially to become a subscriber. The subscribers are called legendary players or something like that. I guess if you were to buy an episode, I guess you could start with either Battle for the Earth or Hand of Fate. I'll have to admit, I'm not sure. Well, let's look at the menu.
I do have that episode at.
Okay, so depending on on which episode you have, then that's another story, I suppose. If you already
New.
have, let's see again. Sons of Trigon is one I really enjoyed. So I guess for tier 5, that's the one you could get. Uh, then I suppose you would need probably Amazon Fury for
I do
tier.
have the first episode.
Ah, okay. I guess if you buy one episode per tier, you probably will be able to move forward. So if you have the first episode, I guess the next one would probably be either Battle for Earth or Hand of Fate. One of those two. I would have to check to be sure. Maybe Hand of Fate, I guess. Because I'm not sure if you're going to have access to the tier 1, the tier 4 solos. If you, I'm not sure if the tier 4 solos are for free to play or if you have to be to have the episode. It's been a while, and I've been a subscriber since I don't know about a month after the game was free to play. So I'm not sure exactly how it works for premium or free to play players sometimes. But yeah, at tier 5, I would probably suggest Sons of Trigon. You have access to some neat solo missions. And at tier six, Amazon Fury Part One, again, you're going to have the access to some
Are you going to another Christmas party today, Magneto?
not
Lol.
today. To not today. Monday is my next one. Had a couple in the past few days. So my next one will be probably Monday, and there's going to be a couple ones this week for the New Year's. There'll probably be one on the first, and I think the second or the third. I would have to check. But yeah, there's a few parties. So let's go back to our base. I probably could have warped. Now let's stay here for a bit. Essentially, I want to let's go do a few more solo missions. I've been talking and talking. Let's see what we can do. So essentially, what we did were the tier one, the tier five, the tier four. I'll get it someday. The tier four solo missions is what I just did. Because as you can see in the on duty menu, there's no tier four missions, tier four solo missions. I guess we could try and do a few of the tier four duos. Well, right now I'll stick to let's do a few more solo missions at first. Let's try the Cersei Stronghold. Last time I tried to do the Cersei Stronghold, I did have a bit of a glitch. Uh, it'll make more sense once I reach. Essentially, once I reached Wonder Woman, I kicked her uh, way too high in the level where I was. Oh, talking too much. So I kicked her way too high, and essentially she was like stuck uh, on a higher level, so I could not reach her anymore. And for some reason, she did not want to come down from there. So I pretty much had no choice but to get out of there. Oh, wrong one. Might as well. I didn't use my supercharge much today. I'm not sure yet how good the supercharge is or not. I didn't really get the
I'm
chance to
through
use it.
9 and back.
No problem. So as you see, the loadout works fairly well. So I guess if you're in a group and the tank does a good job keeping the aggro on himself, if you don't get interrupted too much, you should be able to pretty much use your power and use your power and use your power. No real problem. And of course, with a controller that gives you power back, even if you mess up and burn through power a bit too much, it shouldn't be too big an issue. The controller should be able to make up for whenever you get interrupted. And there seems to be quite a huge difference between whenever you can actually execute your rotation as opposed to when you get interrupted.
The
Like when
loadout is to switch powers.
the loadout. Well, the loadout is the combination of the loadout is the combination of powers that you use. Essentially, the loadout is what you see at the bottom of the screen. So when I mentioned going through your loadout, it's going through your powers one by one. So essentially, right now I'm going through my loadout one power at a time until everyone's dead. So they're all dead, but I can keep on going. So so that's what I mean when I mean going through your loadout. So essentially, with the when you use your first power to start your advanced mechanic, I'll do it right now when there's no fight, so that it's easier to pay attention to. So you start your advanced mechanic, and then you go through your loadout. And as you see, you will go through your loadout twice before you even need to activate the advanced mechanic once more. So I activate it, go through it, go through it, go through it, go through it, and then I go through it a second time without even needing to activate it again. It's still going. I hope it makes sense.
They think to defy me? They're dumber than my bestiamorphs.
And technically, you can have two loadouts per armory. Essentially, you can see I have my DPS loadout right now, and if I use the D-pad on my controller, you can see that I can switch role. So I will switch my role, and essentially switching role would give me access to a second loadout. So I could have a second set of power. The only problem is that, as you can see, I'm now in tank role, so I can have a second loadout, but I would have to play that loadout as a tank. But in theory, you can have two loadouts per armories. So if we take a look at our loadouts, we can see that we have our tank loadout, which I didn't really set for this guy. I didn't really plan to use it. And there's the damage loadout. So these are the two loadouts I can have with this armory. But if I were to switch armory, let's say to my other armory, then if I look at the loadouts, again I'm going to have two different loadouts. But this is pretty much the only loadout I use with this armory. I didn't take the time to set a tank loadout, because if I want to have a tank loadout, I will just switch to my tank armory. I will not just switch role. I will literally switch armories. So, and right now I'm trying to experiment or get used to what you could call my second DPS loadout or my second DPS armory. So so that's what I'm playing with right now. Let's destroy that. Oh, I'm surprised I was able to do some damage to them even through the pillar. Oh, that's nice. So as you see with my Geiger Blast, I have to be fairly close to my opponents in order to be able to damage them, which is not really my favorite playstyle. If you've seen me play with my Magneto, I don't use Mass Terror pretty much because of that. I prefer to use Mass Levitation because I can use it as a ranged attack as opposed to Mass Terror. With Mass Terror, I had to struggle to try and be close to my opponents, which wasn't always an option, or which sometimes was a bit challenging, I guess. But as you see, if the opponents are right next to me, the Gygo Blast does a good job. It's, I guess, a good finisher. Oh, there's a little treasure chest, which reminds me, when we defeated Superman, I don't
Are
think I
you
looked.
planning to do PvP with Hyperion?
Yeah, probably at some point. In theory, I'm planning to do PvP with all my characters at one point or another. Uh, the thing is, I guess I have a lot of catching up to do with certain characters, and also not too long ago I did some catching up with my Magneto or my Galactus, which are pretty much my two main characters. So doing all that catching up, I didn't do much PvP during that time. I think I did a little PvP with my Captain Marvel at some point, and that's pretty much the latest PvP I did. But yeah, I should probably start doing some PvP. Probably a bit later, or probably early 2016. I'll start doing some PvP. Although technically I do a bit of PvP if you want to count that in the PvP open world, essentially versus other players. But it always depends on if you actually meet enemy players, and also a little too often it ends up being just players jumping you while you're fighting other enemies. But once in a while you'll have what you could qualify as a fair fight or a good PvP fight, I suppose. And a good PvP fight is not necessarily one where you win. So it's just sometimes a fight that ends up being enjoyable, whether you win or not. So as you see, I kicked those Amazons. Last time I did this, I tried to do this mission. I kicked Wonder Woman like that, and she ended up all the way up there, and she didn't want to come back down. Oh, I should probably. Almost there. Like there's a bit earlier today where I was essentially I was jumped by a Green Lantern while I was doing missions, and okay, he won. That was fine. Of course, like too many PvP players, he felt like he had to teabag me. But also the essentially the error I made was that I switched to my PvP gear. Essentially by now, once you reach tier 7, you may as well keep your PvE gear in the open world. You're going to hit a lot harder with your PvE gear, or so it seems sometimes. Well, let's talk to Cersei. So essentially, he jumped me. So I didn't pay too much attention to that. So I kept on. I was gathering exhibits. And then at some point, as I was gathering exhibits, I noticed that he was trying to jump me again from behind. So I pulled a little fast one on him in the sense that I started flying super fast, and then I started also going through obstacles to sort of lose him. But then I went in a somewhat big circle to come back behind him, and he never saw me coming. Which was it wasn't the fight itself it wasn't a nice fight because it didn't last all that long. So it wasn't a nice fight because it didn't last all that long, but it was a nice bit of maneuvering behind the enemy player. Like I guess he thought that I had just flown away to escape him, but he never expected me to come back behind him, and also it allowed me to start. I was using my Galactus character. It allowed me to start my time bomb before I even was close enough to attack him. And then once I attacked him, uh, I did a few powers or a few attacks, and then my time bomb exploded and pretty much finished him off. It was a pretty cool bit, if I say so myself. But again, it wasn't really the best example of PvP, I suppose. So let's see what we got today on this mission. So let's use our commendation. Oh, we got some healer boots. Yeah. So let's go sell and repair, and we'll do maybe one more. But yeah, I should do some PvP. Probably early 2016. Or would you guys want me to do some PvP stuff? From what I understand, there isn't that many people playing PvP. The number that's been thrown around for the past 4 or 5 years now is that there's about 20% of players who are actually playing PvP. And the way PvP has been going also for quite a while, it's actually it's probably even less than 20% by now. I wouldn't be surprised if it was only 10% of players who actually play PvP. So, but I have no real numbers. All we really have is the 20% that's been thrown around for the past 5 years. Anyway, so let's go do another mission. So we did Cersei's.
I39, V heard a PvP fix coming.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a PvP fix. The real question is what will it fix? Because we've been through many PvP fixes before, and sadly sometimes they don't really fix things all that much, or they fix a few things, but they create other problems that weren't there before. So we're gonna have to wait and see what the fix actually does, and does it really fix PvP, or does it make it worse? We'll have to wait and see. Because we've seen that in the past.
Also, here is a new brawling combo you can try. Hold square, tap square, hold square, hold square.
Hold square, tap square, hold square, hold square. That one? If that's the one, yeah, I'm familiar with it. I just never reuse it. But there's a lot of combos I guess I don't use. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but essentially, where there's too many combos, I find it difficult
Yeah, that.
to. Okay. When there's too many combos, I find it difficult to use them all, if it makes any sense. So I'll usually end up using the same 2 or 3 combos and pretty much not use, I don't know, 80% of the combos. So like right now, as you can see, I'm pretty much, oh, there we go. I'm pretty much using only the advanced mechanic. I'm not really doing combos per se. Like I would probably start using combos if I run out of power, and yeah, I'll use combos then. But if not, nah, not really. And as you can see, I'm somehow I wasn't able to pull the Lightkeeper with that power there. We got a pistol, controller. That stinks. So essentially, when there's too many options, I end up not using most of them. I usually end up using, I don't know, the 2 or 3 options I like best, and pretty much anything else doesn't get used. Like I have the weapon masteries with this character, and I don't know if you've noticed, I don't think I've used a single weapon mastery all night.
Are you planning to go back to Batman Beyond?
Oh, sure. I don't really have a plan to. I should probably plan this more properly, I suppose. Essentially, I'm playing whatever character I feel like playing at the time. I try to have some sort of theme sometimes. Like on Mondays, usually I'll try to play a Superman character because of the Monday's the day we have the Supergirl TV show. So Monday pretty much became Supergirl Day, sort of. So on Monday, I'll try to at least once play with a Supergirl character. Although Monday is also Gotham Day, so I probably should try and play with a Batman character on Monday also. But essentially, I'll play with like right now. I was trying to experiment a bit with my new atomic armory, I suppose. But yeah, I'll get back to Batman Beyond at some point. It just essentially there's so many hours in the day and there's only so many days in the week. So sometimes it happens that sometimes I'll be a while without playing a character. Doesn't mean that I won't play him anymore. It just mean that I wasn't able to find the time to fit that specific character in my schedule, which may seem a bit strange because it's we're talking about playing games, but sadly sometimes you have to schedule your game time.
The world will freeze and die.
But yeah, I'll get back to Batman Beyond. I like the character. I'm pretty happy with being able to get the look, especially getting the T-shirt. I never expected to get it with like 10 tries on the vault. I guess one way would be to go with maybe the characters that people seem to enjoy the most or want to see the most. But it's a bit tricky because sometimes I'll have, let's say I'll have a Wolverine video that gets, I don't know, 12. I'll have a video that gets, let's say, 63 views with Wolverine, and then the next Wolverine video will get 12 views or 5 views. So it's kind of hard to know which character people want to see or not, at least based on the amount of views, I suppose. I guess I could try and do some sort of informal poll and try and figure that out, but we'll see. I've been toying with the idea of trying to come up with some sort of regular schedule. As I mentioned, like Monday could be, let's say Monday morning could be Superman Day or Supergirl Day, and let's say in the afternoon could be Batman Beyond Day. And then Tuesday could be in the morning flash day and the afternoon reverse flash day. And so on and so on. But it's a bit difficult because like earlier this week there was one like a whole day where I could not log in with the PS4 because apparently there was some problem with the PlayStation Network, I guess. I guess the Tana's down. Oh, there he is. So when the PlayStation Network goes down for a whole day, it pretty much messes up with whatever plans you had. Oh, I have the snowman. Ah, and that's sweet. I guess I just found what my next flash fact will be. So let's get out of here. And let's go back to our lair. But also I'm trying to change the league of all of my villains. I still need like 10,000 prestige to be able to do that. So I'm trying to.
R2 triangle seems pretty powerful.
Oh, this, yeah, it is. It is. Well, essentially, it's the way it works is that you stack. What's it called again? Okay, you have to stack nuclear pressures. So essentially, whenever let's start the power back mechanic. When I use this one, then this one, then this one, essentially I end up stacking 3 nuclear pressures when I do that. And when there's 3 nuclear pressures, uh, the right triangle, the Geiger blast, uh, does extra damage. So ideally, you want to go one nuclear pressure, 2 nuclear pressure, three, and then you go with the Geiger blast and you do your big damage, and it seems to work pretty well. The other one was the other option for that is let's go back to our loadout. There's also the Geiger beam, which has the same thing, and the Geiger beam on top of that is that it's the finisher move also. Like if the enemy has less than 35% health, the Geiger beam will do extra damage. So I'm not sure if it stacks with the other ones, but again, it would probably produce the same result. Like you start with the advanced mechanic, and you stack one pressure, 2 pressure, 3 pressure, and then you finish off with your finisher power, sort of. I'll probably try that next time and try and show you guys the difference. And also the good thing about the Geiger beam is that it's a range attack, so I don't have to struggle to try and get close to the enemies to try and damage them. The not so good thing is that you get locked into this animation for I don't know 2 seconds, which doesn't seem like much, but when you're stuck in animation for a few seconds while you're fighting, it can mean death in certain situation. Like if you see a one shot attack that's coming your way and you're stuck in that animation, well, you won't be able to dodge or block, or so you're going to die. But next time I'm going to try that loadout. Essentially, I'm going to replace. Let's see, what's the other one I wanted to take? Essentially, I wanted to replace this one too for. Is that the neutron bomb? No. Well, I think it's this one here. Yeah, that's probably the one. So essentially, next time I'll probably try this loadout instead, which is pretty much a ranged loadout, as you can see. So essentially, all the attacks are ranged attack, which makes it easier. You don't have to position yourself next to the opponent in order to be able to do extra damage. And also, again, this one is also a finisher move. So it should get more damage from the three stacks. And if the enemy has less than 35% health, more damage from the finisher move as well, in theory. In practice, I would have to look at the combat log to see if that's actually the case. I won't really do that. I'm not. I'm trying not to go too crazy. If I see it kind of works, I'll assume that it works, and I won't really wonder exactly why or how to try to get maybe 2% extra damage by doing something a little bit different. So if it seems to work, I'll use it if it works. If it doesn't seem to work, I'll just use something else. So I guess that's going to be. Should I do maybe another one? Next time. Essentially, queuing for missions today was a bit of a nightmare, so I won't even try to queue even for two-player missions. So I guess that's going to be it for now, guys. Although, if you really want to, I could probably take a break and about 20 minutes come back with my Batman Beyond character. Essentially today and probably tomorrow I'll stick to doing solo stuff. So there's probably a bunch of stuff that I could do solo with my Batman Beyond. So give me about 20 minutes so that I can take a bit of a break, and I'll be right back with Batman Beyond. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, I hope you guys have a good holiday season, a good Christmas holiday, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.